Welcome to the talk shop.
Are live.
Yo,
What's up, my
yeah,
man?
I'm good, man. How are you?
I am good. I'm in between shaves, so I'm feeling somehow, but it's all good.
I just cut my hair today. I mean, I tried to do my beard, but I'm not the best with my like trimming it and stuff. So I just like clean up these areas and like underneath and stuff like that. The rest of it just stays. Let it keep growing. So, but
Yeah,
at least the head is shaved down, so I'm good. It's been a while.
you and Tossa and Savannah have the same flow, same cuts.
Yeah. I've been doing this since I made the mistake like a year into the Yamaka. I don't know. I just somebody told me to just cut bald, and I did. And since then, I was already balding, but like my hair hasn't grown back properly since then. So
Mm.
that's usually what I do. And then now, if I don't ever cut it, it's because one, I'm lazy. Two, barbershops gonna open, so Amaka has to cut my hair. But I'm gonna try my best to keep shaving every day now, like every other
Mm-hmm.
day, as I'm supposed
Mm-hmm.
to maintain it. But it's hard, man. And I have a sensitive head, so my head gets very like
You got like
bruised.
bumps and stuff.
No, I don't get bumps, but like, it gets bruised. Like if you touch it, you can feel like the skin has broken and it's healing up. You know how like when you have a bruise on
Oh,
your
yeah.
so I don't know if it's how I'm doing it or like how hard I'm pressing or what I'm doing, but that always discourages me from like shaving it every day, you know. So,
Oh,
but
okay.
I have to get used to it. I have to get used to
I
it.
feel you. I feel
But
you.
yeah, man, how was
Yeah.
your Easter weekend? Happy Easter.
Yeah, man. It's happy Easter to you. It's been quiet. We were supposed to hang out with my mom, but um unforeseen circumstances came up. Uh I won't go into too much detail, but it's a little bit of
Mhm.
COVID related. Not no one in my house has it, but like
Okay,
there's possible contact. Um
exposure. Yeah.
yeah, so we went and just you just have to be careful. So we're just chilling because my mom is 58 now,
Yeah,
so
yeah,
she's not high risk. But we just lean. We're like, you know what? Tomorrow everything should be cleared up. We should know what's going on, so
yeah.
she should be able to come over and then spend. We'll do like Easter Monday instead of Easter Sunday, so we should be fine.
Mm. Do you have off
Yeah.
tomorrow?
No, but she'll come in the evening and we'll probably do our own makeshift Easter dinner or something.
Okay.
It's not the same, but we'll make do. We'll make do.
Yeah, yeah. Was interesting Easter. I mean, it was. I mean, in-laws where everyone was home. My brothers-in-law, my how do you say brothers-in-law or brother-in-laws? I don't know what the plural is.
I've always wondered. I go with brothers-in-law just because it sounds a little bit better in my head, but I don't actually know what
Yeah,
it
I know it's confusing. Brother-in-law. Let me see. Whoever is brothers-in-law. Wait, hold on.
I'm pretty sure it's
I don't
brothers.
fucking know. Yeah, brothers-in-law. I don't know, man. But anyways, so yeah, everyone was here. I got my shot on Saturday in the
Mm-hmm.
morning. Then we had dinner in the evening. Friday night we all went out to dinner. So that was nice. They had to leave today, so we didn't really do anything for Easter. Our Easter dinner was yesterday, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
So everyone went back home today because of work and stuff. So
Oh, okay.
Um, but yeah, it was good. Other than that, it was good. It was good to spend time with everyone. Now we're
Nice.
back to being alone here and everything. So yeah,
We
but it's
we
all
got
good.
we got an interesting comment from a friend of the pod. Shout out to him. He's
Who?
Dutch. He
Oh,
sent
okay.
us
I
a
didn't. I
message.
didn't hear. I didn't hear.
Yeah,
Oh, I
yeah.
didn't see that.
He sent us a message where he's like that he was no, he sent it to me, not us. Sorry, sent it to me. He
Okay.
was like, "Yo, that you guys cracked me up last week." I'm like this last episode. I was like, "What happened?" He's like, "The first thing you guys talked about was like buying an ottoman." And he's like, "We have become our parents straight up."
Of
And when you think
course.
about it, like remember your parents like will have visitors come over, and I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, how far? I went to the store. What's it gonna do? Like this, it doesn't sound like interesting bands, but like to them,
Yeah, but it's our lives, man. It's what's happening right now, man. Like for real, it's crazy. I mean, it's funny you talk about that. I mean, you know what's going on with my potential relocation and stuff like that. I'm not gonna say too much about it, but I mean, we're seeing stuff now. So I'm just like thinking, what the next step is. Dreading that drive when I have to do it because I'm the one that's gonna have to drive the
how
physical
far is it?
car. To where we're going, which
Yeah.
16 hours, something like that.
What?
Yeah,
I felt
16
like
hours.
in my head the South is like closer. Like you know what I mean? Like it's the South.
No,
I'm like
no,
Texas, Tennessee, different style of redneck. That's all. Like it's not that far,
mhm,
but it is.
no, no, 16 hours. So yeah, it's a lot. But yeah, looking forward to it nonetheless. I'm looking forward to new environments,
Mm.
So, but we'll see. But yeah, it was a good weekend in general. I think my arm's still hurting from the shot though. Like it's
Which one
still.
was it again?
I took Pfizer.
Pfizer. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, so I mean, it's hurting like it's like it hurt when I took my first ever vaccination in my
Mm-hmm.
arm. Hurting like when you take Analgesic and your bump is swollen, like
Mm-hmm.
where you take it, that kind of thing. It's not any like other pain, nothing else. I don't feel anything else. So, so from that point of view, there was no after effects. I had to sit down there for 6 minutes after I took the shot for them to observe me,
Mm.
before I could leave the pharmacy. But it was good. Other than that, I drove on my own. I drove back safely, no issue. So,
Nice.
so far so
Someone
good.
you mentioned NLG, and someone needs to explain to me why in school, if you got sick, I don't care what it was you were sick with, it was analgin and chloroquine, both of them,
Chloroquine, yeah.
both
I
both
mean,
shots. Like what was
most
that?
most times the diagnosis was malaria, which is nine out of 10 times you're right. It's malaria most times, But still, it was pervasive use of analgin. By the time you leave there, you have abscesses on your butt and hardened upper butts.
Was it analgin that like or the chloroquine that like was so painful? Like they'll give it to you and they'll tell you to lie down for like an hour before you
Yep,
can go
yep.
anywhere. Was it analgin that
It's
did that to you?
analgin. I don't Chloroquine didn't have to be shot in the ass.
Mm.
Analgin is analgin because it's analgin because it's the butt. so that's the one, and that's the one that made you unable to walk for a few hours. If
Oh,
you were not careful.
that was
Crazy
brutal.
man, crazy
Oh,
times.
oh.
Just popped into my head. You were there for this Somkele's madness episode because he had a very severe malaria episode.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
When it goes cerebral, when it messes with your head,
I
and
remember.
he ran around the school naked, like they had to catch it. It was very bad. I was laughing now, but he was really, really sick. Like he was very sick. So it wasn't a funny situation at
If you
all.
listen to this, bro, I'm bad for throwing this out
For
there, but
exposing it.
you're a big boy now. You're all good. You're all good.
Well, yeah, man. So it was a good weekend. Looking forward to the next shot to be done. At least now if they ever do any restrictions, I can show my card that I've been
That's true.
vaccinated. So I have no issue from that point of view. But yeah, man.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I'm not
Now,
getting mine for a while, but it's all good.
yeah, I'm still surprised Canada has been so crazy. But
I'm tired of these people. I beg. I'm tired of these people. But it's all good. There was some absolute madness. Like at first, like I was like, okay, so last week we promised everyone we were gonna have a
I
guest
guess.
on, and we didn't get to do that, and we apologize for that. Things had to be moved around.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then moved around again. But that's fine. We moved. It took me a while. Like, I was thinking like, oh, what are we gonna talk about this week? Like, what topics? And then I realized that there's madness going on in America that I didn't even realize was happening. Like, wow. One thing about living in Canada is we're very dry. Like, I just want to let people know. Like, when it comes to Canada, you will live a very calm life that doesn't really have much international excitement at all. Like, there might be the odd racism here and there, but like, or even the odd political madness, but really, we don't do this shit. Like, we don't do this shit. Like, Matt Gaetz is who I'm talking about.
Yep.
I couldn't believe what I was reading.
Fam, like, first of all, I just from seeing him, are we surprised? Number one, because he physically, he just looks like, he reminds me of Lord Farquaad, essentially. Essentially, that's how he looks, right? He looks creepy, and then obviously when you dig deeper, he's a Trump guy, all the ingredients for him to be some sort of messed up is there. So I wasn't really surprised, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And Joe what, Gallagher or whatever, the person that he was linked with that made them investigate him also. There's another guy, Greenberg, yeah. That is being that one, his trial is going on right now. At least for Matt, he hasn't been indicted or but nothing has been happened to him yet legally. It's just allegations at the moment, I think, right? They haven't really charged him with anything. But this Joe Greenberg guy is currently going through like trial for the same thing, essentially. So
yeah, it's pretty wild. Like when you think about it, like effectively, what's happening is Matt Gaetz is under investigation by the DOJ or the FBI. I don't know which one of them, but he's under investigation for child sex trafficking. Like apparently he was allegedly sleeping with girls who are 17, and getting them across state lines, like essentially paying for their travel to come see him, have sex with them. And he's like, I never, and apparently like, pay them through Cash App. And he's saying, I never paid for sex. Basically what he's saying is, he's not denying that he moved people around, but he's saying A, they were 18 and above, and B, like if I'm dating you and I pay for you to come see me, that's fine. Like I'm dating you, like whatever.
Yeah.
If that's the case, cool. But it all depends on the age of these babes, because if these girls are 17, fam, you're sex trafficking, and you're definitely not in a relationship with a 17-year-old, so you are essentially paying for sex, which is a very big problem for this.
Even if he's like, first of all, it's creepy that he's in his I'm assuming he's close to his 40s at this point.
I think he's like 37.
He's having anything to do with 18-year-olds or anybody that's suspected of being less than 18-year-old is already a problem for me. Like, I understand the age gap thing. Sometimes it happens, obviously a 50-year-old man with a 30-year-old woman. But at least at that point, they're more mature. Anything to do with 18-year-old, anything that you can still say teen on, I'm sorry, it's just nasty. So,
I mean, like you can tell if like you're scrolling through Instagram and you see someone who, to me, I can tell someone who's 18 to 21 in my head. I'm like, nah, too young. Like just visibly, you're like, nah, too young. Like I'm not about this. So for someone to chase that, to me, is just weird. Like you're 37, bro. Like what are you doing? Like, and he's just a weird character.
And he's married.
I don't know if he's. I don't think he's married. But do you remember when last year during the George Floyd protests and Breonna Taylor and Ahmaud Arbery, summer of civil rights, effectively, he was making a point, and someone else, a Democrat, was like, "You don't know what it feels like to be discriminated against your whole life. Like, stop talking to us and telling us what to do. You don't know our experience." All of a sudden, he's like, "I do know what it's like to raise a person of color." And all of a sudden, he's like, "I've been raising this Cuban boy." Like, no one ever heard about this guy called Nestor. Like, I've been raising this Cuban kid underground without telling anyone for years, and he considers me his father. And then this guy was like, yes, he's a father figure to me. He raised me from Cuba. Blah, blah, blah. And it's like, what? Like you decided to bring this up now in the context of a race debate? Like what? Nah, fam. I believe this guy did everything they said he did.
Yep. And the nigga did that shit. He guilty of as 50 said in Power. Crazy.
Yeah.
No, for real. Like first of all, just for me, him and what's his face? What's the other guy? I keep commenting on what he looks like. What's his name?
Ted Cruz.
Ted. Two of them just look like nasty human beings. You know, did you see a video? Did you see the video of him talking when he went to Mexican border? How much like the Cuban dictator he looked like? Yeah,
he looks exactly like Castro's son. Exactly.
Fam.
Carbon copy. I was like, you should don't open your mouth and talk anymore. You look like.
But he's of Cuban descent, though, isn't he?
Yeah.
Cruz.
That's why he shouts that family fled Cuba. A guy is born in Calgary over here, talking rubbish.
Damn.
Beggy.
But yeah, this guy is very creepy, and like apparently there's like talks of him preemptively like looking to leave his what do you call it, house seats, and like going to like broadcasting instead and stuff like that. So it's clearly there's some guilt there. You know what I mean?
Well, he should. I mean, I don't think even if they clear him of this, I don't think he'll survive, because there were even these stories that were coming out about him showing people in the Congress chambers naked pictures of women that he slept with, and it's like, bro, why are you a sleazebag? Like for me, like my thing is simply this: if you're a Republican, right, and you claim party of family values, but like your president was a scumbag, this guy who's his biggest champion is a scumbag. You have Hawley, who incites riots and insurrection, and you have all these other people who are very like either racist or scumbags, and not all of them. Like some of them are good people, but there are racists among them, and there are scumbags among them. Like, are you sure you're the party of family values? Like, as much as I get it, if you're a Democrat, you should be above that as well. But if your logic is that the Democrats have lost all morality and all righteousness, and there's no Christian values, and there's no home training and no family values, stuff like that, but you are worse, remember there's even the guy who told this girl, paid for his girlfriend to have an abortion and stuff. I'm just saying, if the left is weird and wild, and you let them be that, because how you've defined them, let them be weird and wild. You can't be that yourself now. Like, it's just so strange, man.
Again, hypocritical. That's essentially what it is, and it's just, however do we drive our gender? Even if we talk about their bases, a lot of those people are racist. First of all, they use God as their reason for doing a bunch of like bad stuff. You know what I mean? So there's nothing godly about what they're peddling. There's nothing godly about anything that they say. So it's all of it is a mixed bag of hypocrisy, essentially. And the lefts also have it too. So it's not even just exclusive to.
They do. They have, and my thing is this: what you said, right? Like, the left have a bunch of scumbags. Like, if we're being honest, Bill Clinton was a scumbag himself. Like, Mike Linsky was 21, fam. This guy was what, 60 something at the time. Like, he should not even look in her direction. Like, that was the scumbag in chief. Like, Trump was not, this special case in that context, if you know what I mean. Like, Bill Clinton was right there, and there's Anthony Weiner, a bunch of other people. Al Franken, there are monsters on that side. But if you're going to paint them that way, then you need to ensure that you are the opposite of them. And these people are not. And it's just wild to me. Like it's just, anyway.
Well, like I said, hypocrisy all over the place, And I mean, I feel like this guy hopefully doesn't get away with this stuff. Um, we'll see what happens with the Joe Greenberg guy. I mean, that's not as high profile because I don't think he's in government, but he's in that whole circle of Matt Gaetz, and there's another guy he took a picture with, older white guy that they acquitted from jail, like Trump let out of
Oh, that
jail.
Roger Stone or whatever.
Roger Stone, there you go. That's the asshole.
Nah, that's a big
So
asshole right
those are the guys that he's fraternizing with. So hey, what can we expect? You know?
But speaking of alleged scumbags, your let me say former governor, since you're in transition, Cuomo, man, a lot of women have come for this dude. Like,
Yeah. I mean, I
a
don't
lot of
know.
women.
First of all, he's not married, right?
I don't know his situation.
He's not
I have
married.
a
Apparently, he's not married. Apparently, he's not been married for a long time. Actually, I don't know if his wife died or he got divorced early, but he's been single for a long time. So that's one. I mean, but either way, if he was doing things unsolicited, obviously, that's never good. But apparently, he's single and lives like a single man. So you can always imagine what that means. You know what I mean?
I mean,
But
if you're a playboy, you're a playboy. Like, if you're within the rules of the age and you're a playboy, cool. Can it be creepy? Yes. My
yes,
thing is, if he is touching people in ways that they don't want, get out of office. Like, it's that simple. You should
yeah,
not be like, if women are saying that they told you once, twice not to do this, that, and you still did it, and you threw your power around, which he's alleged to have done. I think there was a journalist that he threatened as a result of this. Like, then, man, you should step back. Like, like you should resign. Like, there's no, we can't have it both ways here. Like, if you're creepy as a governor, you're creepy as a congressman, get the fuck out of there. Like, it's really that simple. So, but
yeah,
I don't know all the allegations. I just know that at least 6 women, I believe, have come out, and to me, it becomes very credible when that many people, like, you're not going to pay off 6 women to come up and just talk shit. Like, that's not going to happen. I don't believe that. I think you
yeah.
can.
But for all, he definitely has some skeletons in the closet. But like, you know, I sometimes I'm tempted to, and this is not an apologist type thing or anything. I'm also always tempted to look at the timing of these things. You know what I mean? Like sometimes I'm like, why are these things coming out now? What did he do that is upsetting people, or who did he upset? And it all points to me like he was beginning to get a head of steam with his COVID response. People were beginning to like him in some kind of way. Um, the possibility of him running for president at some point was being raised, and it was like, nah, we can't have this guy or something. The allegation comes out, fine, whatever. But I always have that in the back of my head. Is that also possibly a reason that's all coming out now? You know. But again, if he probably did these things regardless. They should have come out. They're coming out now, and that's how it should be. I'm surprised there's no way for them to force him out, and he's not leaving. Apparently, I don't know when the next gubernatorial election is. Um, I'm guessing the next 2 years, right? The way it works, it's always 2 years after the presidential. I think
I think
usually.
something like that. Yeah, I think I have
So
a feeling he wants to do those 2 years, and then he'll be like, "I'm leaving on my own terms. You're not
mhm,
forcing me out. Peace. I'm out."
yeah.
But I firstly, I doubt he would run for president. I don't know why. I doubt it. Like,
I mean, now
I
he
still
won't.
think
But
America will
if
never.
why?
So I just don't think, like, is he gonna get married in that time frame? I don't think America will elect an unmarried guy. I don't think
Oh, the
that'll.
my guy. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, fine,
I,
fair
I
enough.
I don't see it. I think even though America leans liberal on many things, there is something about an unmarried president that I don't ever see happening.
Fair enough.
At least until we're old. And like, I also don't see. just something about him. I don't see it. So like, I feel like timing, good or bad, in terms of taking, like, the claims coming, like in terms of timing, I don't think it really matters, because personally, I don't think, like, I'm looking at it from a, if we want to take him down type of thing. Like, I think if you the time would have been before the election. Once he started, people started liking him, right? About like COVID, and people were talking about, oh, my president. Like,
Yeah.
in the time for trying to be opportunistic. So I don't really think about that. If I'm trying to put my cynical hat on, I wouldn't. I feel like there's better timing than this. But he's just, yeah, he's a scumbag. It's just, he really is. He really is.
Yeah, I mean, let's be watching. We'll see. I mean, again, I don't think he's gonna quit. They obviously don't have any vehicles for him to, unless he really starts to get convicted, or I mean, I don't know what the process is. I don't know if there's actually a case on right now for him, or if it's just allegations. People keep coming and whatever. But that's the only thing I can see causing him to resign, is if there's actually going to be a case or whatever. But we'll see. It's whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, I could care less, really. But sorry.
Yeah, no, I know you. I'm with you. I'm with you.
Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. I mean, all these people. Honestly, a lot of these people are creeps. A lot of these presidents. I mean, if we want to be jiggy with it, the person we're going to talk about next, or his son, whatever, Joe Biden has been asked. This has been talked about as if he's the creepiest of the creeps. Like, the way he touches people. We've seen video of him caressing people weirdly. So like, I wouldn't be shocked if he has something. Do you know what I mean? So, and if he's president now, I mean, it never came out. He has had allegations, but never to the extent of what Cuomo is having right now. But people have said he's touched people inappropriately or whatever, shown videos, and never done anything to him. So, hey.
The funny thing about Joe is that, like, when Joe's stuff came out, it was like the women, except for this one whose name I can't remember, but the one, she was like, yeah, he did some stuff, right? And then Joe came out in an interview and said, nope, didn't happen. She came out to her own interview, nope, and it just kind of went away, sort of thing. But there was other women who were like, he touched me inappropriately, and they wrote these op-eds, but the framing of what they said was interesting. They're like, he touched me inappropriately. However, I don't believe that it was sexual. It made me, the women framed it as he made me uncomfortable.
But he had no intention of doing that.
Yeah. And I was like, that they made very specific points to say that, which is interesting to me. Not that it speaks any volumes of him. It's like, as if they were trying to say, I want everyone to know that this is wrong, so that the next generation coming up, or whoever, understands that this makes women uncomfortable, has made women uncomfortable for decades. I'm just speaking about this. I understand it's not his intention. This is how it is. I'm like, that's very interesting that you would come out and protect the man like that. Like, as much as you're telling your truth, which is facts, but you're protecting him, which is interesting to me.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Very interesting. But yeah, speaking of Biden, I mean, I didn't see this interview. I don't know when it happened, but apparently Hunter Biden was speaking about his drug addiction, and just got you thinking and got us thinking about how people deal with members of their family and people having issues and stuff like that. What are your thoughts? First of all, about the situation, and like how you would be if you had, maybe not even like drug addiction, maybe like disabilities in the family and stuff like that, that kind of thing.
Yeah, no, it's a very serious thing, because with the Hunter Biden story, I only caught this one clip where he was saying that there was a family intervention for him. I think he was doing a lot of cocaine, and he abandoned it, and he wanted to run to his car so he can get home and take another, what they call it, sniff, or another, there's a word for it, which I can't remember. But he wanted to do that, and Joe ran to him and grabbed him and just put him in a bear hug before he could get in the car. And it just shows how desperate the family was. But I've had situations in my own family where people, family members have been going through some very, very difficult things that put the rest of us at deep stress, and you're worried and you're trying to figure out, how do we approach this person? How do we handle this thing? You're praying a lot, and you realize that end of the day, that person has to want to come back. It's a very fine line between, you can't force a person is the sad part. Even if you want to, and you really want to drag them out of it, it's very difficult to do that.
Yeah. I mean, personally, we have had some kind of situation of that sort. I wasn't personally involved. I wasn't an adult. The person is an older family member of mine. Older. When I say older, I mean my generation, but older than me. A couple years older than me. I would say maybe 10 years older than me. During his university years and stuff, I know my dad was called upon to go visit and try to talk to him and stuff like that. So I know it's been dealt with, but it's a matter of, obviously, any support you can give, any advice you can give. This person wasn't forced to live at home or locked up or what I mean. There wasn't any of that. There was just more guidance, trying to talk to you, make sure you're not in the wrong place. If they can help by bringing you back, because like I said, my dad used to go sometimes. If he went missing and no one heard from him for a long time, he would go to his campus and try to find where he was. This is in Nigeria back then, so you can imagine how tough it was. But yeah, not that you begin to lock the person up or condemn the person or put the person in some kind of insane asylum. Nigeria doesn't have rehabs, so I'm sure that would have been sought after if they could. But again, to my point, if we had something like that in our family, like you said, we can't force somebody to change. You can only try to, talk to them, see if they want to change, and help them get the help they need to get that done. Do you know what I mean? So
yeah. I think what I learned in the process is, if there's someone who can relate to this person, well, I think one thing that I'll say our culture doesn't do very well is to try to understand, empathy, right? And put yourself in that person's shoes. There's a lot of, why are you doing this to us? Why are you doing this to your mom? Didn't you know you're giving her high blood pressure? Or did I raise you this way? And there's a lot of judgment, even for the person who probably turned to this stuff because they are hurting, right? Or they're misunderstood. Sometimes there's parental child conflict that's gone unresolved for years. So when we were in the situation we were in, I just tried to talk to the person just like a regular human being every now and then whenever I could, and turned out that I was the only one that they would open up to. And it wasn't trying to do anything special. It was just, hey, how are you? Remember that I think it was Meghan Markle last year or something, when they were on tour somewhere, and then a journalist asked her, hey, how are you doing? And she went, wow.
No one's
it's been
asking
a long
that,
time since someone asked me that, right? And it's sometimes after this experience I had with this guy, I realized just how actually significant that is. Just asking someone, how are you? And just letting them explain what they're going through and listening to them. It's really key. It's really the key in these situations, I feel like.
Definitely. And I think also, I think our generation is more so comfortable with this, but being comfortable with therapy or sending people to therapy or speaking to someone professional that, if you don't want to speak to a family member, I understand that. But if you want to just speak to somebody to share your feelings, talk things through, to help you get over any issues, excuse me. Talk through any issues sorry. Talk through any issues you may have, that helps. It helps a lot. So I would recommend people do that. Therapy is not something that means you're crazy. It just means you
Hmm.
want to talk to someone, but you can't necessarily do it with your immediate family. So you want to talk to someone outside, and that's totally fine. So.
Yeah, I think about it, and um, I think that so like for me, I wish that I actually did go to therapy after Paul passed away. Like
Mhm.
I wish I did because
Yeah.
there's still some residual things I deal with that like gets me into sort of a bad place,
Hmm.
and it's a little bit unresolved, I want to say. And it's not
Hmm.
like at the time, it wasn't like I was gonna go talk to my mom because the whole
Hmm.
point was to be strong for my mom. And my dad
Hmm.
loved the guy, and like I do
Hmm.
talk to him, but like I do think that there is a difference in relationship between this generation and your kids. And like,
Hmm.
we love our dads, but it's like having that breakdown moment with your father is just something that's still gonna sound weird. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Like
Hmm.
it is what it is. It doesn't mean that there's not a good dad, you don't have a good relationship. It's just kind of the way it is. And you just have to
Hmm.
kind of leave that there, I feel like.
Hmm. Hmm.
But man, there was some I look back now and I'm like, there was some wild things I was doing back then in those days. Like, and it was
Yeah.
just a reaction to
Yeah.
a situation that just I could not resolve. And
Yeah.
if anyone is going through anything, honestly, if you can talk to someone, please do. Like,
Yeah.
take it from me, please. Anyone that you can, who you feel comfortable with, if you can. And it's easy to say that. Some people, they're too deep, right?
Yeah.
But if anyone is listening to this and going through a tough time, please open up to anyone that you can. Um, there are also hotlines that you can call.
Yeah.
But just this Hunter Biden thing just kind of triggered it because I was like, this is a whole vice president's son who threw
Hmm.
away his wife, his kids. Well, I think they're getting there, but like he almost threw everything away
Yeah.
because he was going through a tough time, and then drug addiction. And I bet it was PTSD induced because he went to war.
Went to
I don't
war,
know that for a
exactly.
fact, but I know he went to war, right? So it wouldn't
Hmm.
surprise me.
Yep.
And then he
Yep.
lost his brother to brain
Yep.
cancer. Remember, Bo?
Yep.
Like, there's a lot
Yep.
that was going on in that guy's life. It's pretty
Yep.
crazy.
Yeah. So I can only imagine. I mean, he definitely had trauma. And was him and Bo's mom the one that died in the car crash? Yes.
Yes, yes.
Obviously, Jill.
His
Jill's
and
not his
his
original
sister.
wife, and his sister,
Yeah,
exactly.
no.
So him and Bo had that issue young. I think his drug addiction didn't start after the army. It was before the army. I think when he was younger, he got over it, went to the army for some discipline, came back, extra PTSD, and went back to the issues. I think that was
Hmm.
how it was. I don't remember. I don't know that for a fact, but I believe that was the one thing that Jill said is that it wasn't just uh, combats that caused his issues.
Hmm.
Um, so yeah,
It's definitely
it's you know,
multi-layered.
yep, yep, definitely. You gotta be understanding for those people. You gotta try to help them as much as you can, but yeah, sometimes speaking to somebody else on their own, away from family, can be as beneficial because they may still not say everything they want to say to family. You know what I mean? So, but always try to be a shoulder for them. Always, you know, it's
Oh
it's
yeah.
it's it helps a lot. So, but yeah, thankfully he's doing okay now. So, you know,
Yep.
and
Yep.
I
I think.
that's one thing I've never experienced anywhere close enough is like drug addiction or alcohol addiction. I mean, alcohol. I'll be honest with you, we probably know more people that are alcohol addicts than
Hmm.
we know because they don't label themselves as that.
Hmm.
Especially in the generation, our parents' generation, a lot of men drink a lot,
Oh yeah.
and they some of them pass away from it. Some of them lose, the kidney or liver. I never know which one it is that
No, I
messes
think
up
it's
from
liver.
alcohol.
I
You
think it's
know,
liver. Yeah.
so it's more rampant than we think. But again, people won't admit that they're addicted to those things. You know, so and there's a lot of other addictions. Let's not get into it, but like there's a lot of other addictions. Anything that you
Hmm.
you, you do compulsively, that you can't control is an addiction, point blank,
Yeah,
period. So, if you, and the best thing is recognizing that you need help for those. And if you recognize that, then go get help. And there's always help for different things everywhere. So do your best.
absolutely, absolutely. There's another addiction which I think let me say black celebrities need to figure this out. Like those black men, we need to figure this out. And it's an addiction to womanizing. Let me put it this way.
Yeah.
And I didn't really care about Quavo and Saweetie.
Mhm.
I was, but then the video came out, and I was like,
Yeah.
let's address this video because I am in. It's gonna sound bad. I'm in two feelings about this video. Like,
Me too. So first of all, whatever he did, he probably cheated, or she probably cheated also, or they had disagreements. Now that we've seen this video, there may be more to it. They were probably more volatile than people knew, as a couple. So there's a lot going on. The video to me was, how do I say this? I'm certain he definitely knew there were cameras in the elevator.
because of the look,
He,
right? When he looked
he
up.
definitely knew. He definitely knew he was in public, which is why I'm leaning towards, like, anything he did to her in that elevator was not an attack in the sense of I want to beat you up.
Mm-hmm.
Um, he was definitely reacting to whatever she was doing. We don't have context other than them struggling to enter the elevator, him pulling her in, or he pushed her in. I don't remember what it was. Her being on the floor and him kind of standing over her, looking at her, stroke, looking at the camera. And then when the elevator opened up, then he walked out and then kind of waited for her to get out. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? So we don't know the context of all that. We know from what we saw, she did swing a few times, or at least shove him violently. I don't think he pushed her apart from falling into the elevator with her. I think he tried to pull her in, right? I think.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just weird. Now, again, we don't know what the real context is. But again, if that kind of thing is happening and we saw it in the elevator, I can only imagine that that's happened many times. Only God knows how many times he's reacted in that way versus more violently. Do you know what I mean? So, okay, I don't know.
Yeah. The thing is, like, when I first saw the video, right, there were lots of comments under it being like, "Send his ass to jail." And I'm like, I was actually I watched it so many times that I was like, why don't I agree? Because like I generally do. Like, you know what I mean? There's no excuses in my head when men assault women. And I watched it and I thought he shouldn't do what he's doing. But are we talking about jail here? Like, is this classified as assault? That was what I was trying to rationalize in my head,
Establish.
because
Exactly.
and I still don't even know, because like when I watched the video, the first thing you ever see in the video is her take her like trying to punch him in the face, and he ducks it. He moves back and he ducks it, and then there's a red bag, or I don't know what it is, and then they're scrambling for it. It seems to me, because I think the bags are his. He's trying to get out of the whatever this place is, because he has a bag in his hand, and then the red bag is in the elevator, and she takes the red bag and she's trying to get it out of the elevator. So they clearly had a disagreement, and it seems to me like he's trying to get out, and she's like, "No, you're gonna stay here." She swings. I mean, maybe they swung punches at each other from before. I don't know, but
we don't know.
She clearly swipes at him at the beginning of this video, and he's like, "Give me my shit!" Like, and he does kind of do it, like he holds her and then like swings her. I want to say, that's where I'm like, okay, you've now messed this up, because you have you've physically done something.
Not
But
something.
again, I asked the question: is he just trying to get his stuff and get away? Like,
Yep.
I don't know. I know it's a
Mhm.
bad situation.
Mhm.
And clearly he looked at the camera and he's like, well, this is not good.
Mhm.
And part of me says, well, because he kind of looks at it and then he's like, oh shit. Then he's kind of like, and she's on the ground. I'm like,
Mhm.
lift her up, like check if she's
Yep.
okay. Like,
Yep.
what are you doing? Why are you just looking at her? Like, there are so many things that I think he's done wrong in this video.
Yep.
But then he grabs the bags and leaves the elevator. Like, where has he gone? Has it gone down? I don't know. There's also unresolved stuff in this video. But is he aggressive? I think he is aggressive. Is this jail? I don't know. Like, it's not definitive as assault. Like, it's not like he punched her in the eye, like, or anything. Like, Again, I'm trying to be careful because I'm not trying to defend him, because to me he is being aggressive. But he did dodge two like punches. So it's not just black and white in this situation. It's just
Definitely not. Like, I think that I'm trying to find the video right now to see what happened. But like, I feel like he was trying to avoid doing anything stupid, clearly. Um, but he ended up doing something. So don't know how much that helped him. Um, but yeah, again, like you said, and imagine if let me just try to see this now.
because he does pull her, and I'm looking at her shirt, like kind of her shirt. He
Yeah.
does pull her and like throw her around, but
Mm-hmm.
all
Like,
things happen.
I'm thinking now, like, if he pulled her how we saw that he did, and for some reason her head. Let me see this. Okay, so she swipes at him, tries to bring the bag out. He's holding the bag. He pulls her in. Okay, cool. Pushes her to the floor. Okay, so the pulling her in, yes, could have been deemed very excessive. Now, my issue is, what if he, in pulling her in like that, because he kind of, there was momentum behind that drag. What if she fell and hit her head on something? She could have died. That would be assault. That would be
I mean, there's
whatever.
that handle, right? That handle is metal. Like, if
Yep,
she hits her head on
exactly.
there, like, that's a big problem.
Exactly. 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 So that's what I'm thinking about, is like, you got to be careful because, you know, actually, Bernie, this stuff might be her stuff. He may be kicking her out because the black bag doesn't look like a guy's bag. I don't know what that other case is.
Oh, like he might
Um,
have been trying to throw her stuff and get her in
yeah,
the elevator
get
to
her
get
out
out.
of where, yeah, like to get her out of his apartment or get her out of wherever it was or whatever.
See,
Um,
that's where context is very important, because if that's what he's doing, like, as someone who's had this kind of not altercation, but this argument about, like, get out of my place before, like, when you're that angry about throwing someone out of your place, like,
mhm,
there's a likelihood that you're gonna do some crazy shit because you really want that person out. Like, if it's
yeah,
that, then I could understand that he is very much in the wrong. I'm not saying that that's what it is, just that mentally I can get where you get that red mist, so to say. And
mhm.
like, but if he's the one being kicked out, like, I don't know, the context of the situation is important, but
Or him leaving. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Or if it was, because apparently it was Saweetie's apartment complex, so he was probably leaving her apartment. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So,
I
anyways,
mean, it's not good, and we're not like, I'm not trying to be like, oh, it's not that bad. It's just, it's messy, and
yeah, very messy.
when people start shouting like, send him to jail, I'm like, well, you send people like Bill Cosby to jail, like, like, I've seen videos of guys like friggin' what's his name, the NFL player who punched the hell out of
Oh
his girlfriend
yeah,
a couple of years ago outside in the elevator and dragged her ass out.
yep,
Like, we seen that, like, cut and dry, take this man to jail, throw away the key. I'm cool, but this was very, very messy. But the
yeah.
problem is, in my opinion, the whole narrative of the situation is that Quavo is a serial cheater on her,
Oh yeah,
and if that is the case, this is where I have a problem. I'm like, why do we do this? I don't know. Like, me personally, I don't know if we've talked about this before. I've never understood the mindset of cheating. It's not something I comprehend. I don't get it. I don't get it. And I mean it in the context of, if I'm in a relationship with you, and I've told you, like, who I'm in a relationship with, if I physically want to be with someone else, and I mean like either date or, mess around with, why don't I just end the relationship? Like, what do I need to be in a relationship with you for? This is just how I get it. Some guys think differently. This is how I think. Why would I do this?
Exactly. If you are going to cheat, you might as well just break up. Why would you? You know what I mean? Like, there's many times it's happened before. You're like, you just break it off with one of the people. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's
Like,
crazy.
I would love to understand, like, how you can be in two minds. Like, oh, she's great emotionally, but this one's great physically, so I need to be straddled. I'm like, I don't like headache in my life, me personally. Like,
Yeah,
I don't.
exactly.
It doesn't make sense.
Yep. Situation was
But I
just
think
messy. I think just his there are many angles you can look at it, but again, we don't have context, so yeah, you just have
I
to
do
rely
think
on the
that
video.
one thing our culture does is there is this, and I've been around guys who do this, who brag about cheating.
Yeah,
Who brag about their multiple situations. And I have a feeling
or
some of it is that toxic masculinity bullshit.
yeah. In all honesty, too, we've also been around people while they're cheating and not said anything. I personally know. Okay, I've been around someone that was cheating. I didn't know them personally. They weren't my personal friend. I knew they
Mm-hmm.
were married though. I met their wife.
Mm-hmm.
I was at drinks with them, and then another girl came and was with him all night.
Mm-hmm.
They were all loving up and whatever. So obviously that's cheating. But
Mm-hmm.
I didn't think it was my place to say anything. He wasn't my boy like that.
Mm-hmm.
So that kind of thing. I obviously if any of my personal boys like you guys or you or anyone in our group chats, it would be easy to call them out because you know, at least to them, to their face,
Mm-hmm.
make sure that they know that what they're doing is not approved of. But yeah, it's I don't know, it's how do you even have the patience for it? Like it's tough enough me dealing up with my wife. What am I doing with two women who think I owe them everything? Like
It's mad.
I'm very taking care of my wife. I know she's my person. I take care of
Mm-hmm.
everything she needs in terms of emotionally. I try to.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine trying to do that for two people, three
Mm-hmm.
people. I mean,
It's
but then
mad.
again, some people just do it as a casual thing. They don't really have relationships with anyone else. They just do their thing and keep it moving. But I can't. I know I'm not one of those people. I would pretty much be having many relationships with all these women if I had, you know what I'm saying? And I can't
Mm-hmm.
cope with that. I really can't. I can't juggle that. I already have my
Yeah.
own emotions to deal with, and my wife's emotions. Why am I adding another person,
The
to
stress
it?
of it, like, it's
Stress. Too
just,
much stress. Too
you
much
can't.
stress.
I've been in a situation where I was like out of the country. I was back home. I was in Nigeria, even in like the village. Let me even tell you, like, and was supposed to go out with my cousins, and then one of my cousins' friends was around. I was like, oh, so let's see. Like, he's like, I'll introduce you to some girls. I'm like, nah, man, I'm good. Girls back home, and they're
Hmm.
like, what do you mean? Like in his mind, it was like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
Like,
Yep.
he couldn't understand that I was like, no, I'm good. Like, he's like, wait, so you're going back to Canada in like 2 weeks,
Hmm.
and we're going out right now, and you're telling me you good? I was like, I'm good. Like, he
Yes.
was
Exactly.
like he was stunned. I'm like, I don't know
Hmm.
this dude. So,
Hmm.
but then my cousins weren't saying anything. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Which kind of informed me that they were down with
Hmm.
this. I
Hmm.
found out later that, like, funny enough, some females in the
Hmm.
family
Hmm.
are open to this type of thing. Like, in fact, they have done the cheating. And I was
Wow.
like, huh.
Mm.
like, it was so interesting to me. I was like,
Yeah. Yeah.
huh,
You never
okay.
know. You never know people's thresholds. You never know what they really are capable of. But
Yeah,
hey, it is what it is. To each their own.
yeah,
But yeah,
that's
yeah.
that's true.
Um, but yeah. Lastly, honestly, I don't really. I've really ended my infatuation or my support of this guy for been a while now. So I don't really care what's going on with them. Honestly, I think I could see it coming a mile away. Just even we're talking about Joe Budden, by the way.
Hmm.
Um, used to be the biggest fan of his podcast. His podcast is fire. Apparently, it's still very good. But obviously, if you are in the know, you know that his two co-hosts, they're having issues. I don't know if they've gone back together. I know I saw something Rory posted the other like yesterday or something. Um, but they're having a dispute. I don't know if it's money. I don't know if it's since the move to what do you call it? Patreon. I don't know what it is, but they're having disputes. So they haven't. Neither of Rory or Ma have been on for the last what 2 weeks, 3 weeks, maybe.
Did you said Rory said something recently,
He
or
posted something on Twitter like blood ties, something like that, and then Ma was like, he posted like a clever remark response to that. And apparently, people were saying it was part had to do with reconciliation with Joe and stuff like that. So
mm,
personally, I think Joe is too much. I don't know if I could be his friend with the way he is. He can be too aggressive, too opinionated, too thinking that what he thinks is right type behavior. I don't like people like that. So like I sometimes how he talks to them on the pod, I'm like, really? I know your name is on the
yeah,
stuff, but like, nah, that's not cool in any way, shape, or form. So to me, I was surprised it lasted that long. I thought that at least Rory, I was surprised he was the one that started the whole thing in
mm,
terms of standing up to Joe. I was very surprised to see that. But it's good. I mean, and then I guess all of them feel like they have their own self worth and they want to whatever. So um, I, I would assume maybe there's some kind of money thing with that happened with that, you know. But I don't know.
it
It's
wouldn't it
it's
wouldn't
it's
surprise me. It wouldn't
yeah.
surprise me at all. I mean,
I mean, we don't know. We don't. Do you
Joe.
know any more of the backstory of what the issue was or what?
No, like he's addressed it as it's not even no beef. It's like,
Hmm.
bro, like if you're not gonna tell us, shut up. I'm like, don't
Yep.
don't even address it. Like let's just if they
Yep.
come back, they come back. If they don't, they don't. Like
Hmm.
I don't. I've heard that he's planning therapy sessions. I'm like, I don't
With
like. There's
them.
a problem here. Like yeah, like problem here. That's all we need to know. Like,
Hmm.
but to me, I agree with you on Joe because every group thing Joe's ever done has gone bad, and it's always because
Yeah,
of Joe. Like
that's true.
even if
I
you look at
forgot about
Slaughterhouse,
Slaughterhouse.
all of them said
Slaughterhouse,
it was
everyday
Joe.
struggle, everything. Yep.
Yeah, everyday struggle. The way he left that like in a blaze,
Hmm.
like
Hmm.
even like Slaughterhouse, they all said it was Joe. That they could never
Hmm.
find Joe when it was time to record, and
Hmm.
like I'll never forget
I,
when Joe went on Complex and said that Eminem's album was trash, put it in a bag of rice. It's like, why would you say that about your boss? Like, he just goes off. Even his
the thing
relationship
is,
with Sin Santana.
the, yep. The thing is, always thinks that his opinions are correct. That's my problem. He thinks
Mm-hmm.
that his thoughts have some merit to them that surpasses whatever anyone else thinks. Like the whole, to me, where I started getting annoyed with him was the whole move from Spotify and trying to find their own way and get their own deal, whatever, and making it seem as if anyone else doing deals was doing the wrong deals. Like
Mm-hmm.
always clowning Charlemagne for, you know, trying to do his own thing, and then Charlemagne went and he became like a global partner with iHeart with all what they're doing, and they were, oh yeah, sure, global partner. How are you really a partner? You know what I mean? Bringing people's own accomplishments down because they don't
Mm-hmm.
agree with the semantics or they don't know the details of the deal, so they feel like them trying to struggle to own everything on their own was the only way it could go. Do you
Mm-hmm.
know what I mean? I was like, why does that have to be the way? Well, what makes you think
Mm-hmm.
your way is the right way? The same way I feel about my United fans. Like, first of all, you're a fan. You're not there to support. You have no
Mm,
right to know the ins and outs of what any coach is doing. It's not your
mm,
right. Like nobody,
mm,
like they've studied for this. They've gotten the job by merit, whether you think the merit is right or not. They've gotten the job. They've done the
mm,
job longer than you. They have ideas of the job. You cannot
mm,
just simply say he has no style of play or no thought, no doesn't have any tactical whatever because things you've seen haven't worked or whatever, or because the players are not doing it on the field, automatically it's
mm,
the coach. Like, come on, like anyway, some of these people are in my mind. I'm like, how do you thrive at work? Because clearly
mm.
you don't know how work dynamics work. Do you know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? So I feel like Joe is always that kind of person. His way or the highway. My way is correct. My reasoning is correct. My excuses for everything is correct. You should understand it. If you don't understand it, then you're wrong. I never liked that kind of reasoning. Like people like that always end up alienating themselves because they feel like everything they're doing is correct. Meanwhile, for the most part, there's a better way to do this, to collaborate with people than
mm,
pushing them away because you don't agree with them. Everyone's not going to agree with you. Everyone's not going to see the same thing as you. Everyone has to learn that. That's how I think. That's how I tell Amaka all the time. Think about it from other people's point of view. What your way of thinking of things is not correct all the time. Like there's no
yeah.
way. There's
I,
no
I
way
I
everything you
agree.
think was correct.
I
You know,
agree. And
because you're yeah.
like if you put it in the context, like you said, of like maybe it could be creatively. Rory and Maul, maybe they don't want to talk about some of the things Jones talk about, right? And he's like,
Mm-hmm.
no, we're gonna do this. And then like how Rory might be making a point, they're like, stop, 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 stop. And
Exactly,
then like
exactly.
he just goes off and you're like, was this a definitive point here? Like,
Yep.
what are we talking about? And even
Disrespectful,
yeah, it's
even.
it's just it's just like what? Like and even I'll never forget anyway, it was a slaughterhouse thing. I don't remember. But oh yeah, like he's basically said he's not gonna rap anymore unless he owns everything. I'm like, okay, cool.
Okay,
And
cool.
and Royce is like, fam, I'm good. Like Royce doesn't own the record label. He has his own record label,
Mm-hmm.
but obviously, there's record labels and they're under something else, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Royce just got nominated for a Grammy, like album of the year, like rap album of the year.
Mm-hmm.
Nas won it, but he got nominated. You think that doesn't matter to somebody? Like, you know
Yep.
what I mean? Like, if you really break it down, like Joe Budden has achieved zero in music. Like
Yep.
he podcasting and entertainment, wonderful. But
Mm-hmm.
his music career has been a failure. His music career has been a failure because he wasn't willing to play with the team. He was
Mm-hmm.
fighting with Jay-Z when Jay-Z was president of Def Jam. He was fighting with Slaughterhouse and Eminem. He's fighting with with Spotify. He's fighting with like if Rory and Maul decide to walk, which I feel long term they won't, podcast is done. No one can tell me that podcast is that good without those
Mm-hmm.
guys. No.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people, I was going through Joe's tweets. A lot of people were like, "Don't ever have Savon on there again." Bring back.
Poor guy. He has his own podcast, which is doing well on its own, I guess. Need to know podcast. But yeah, honestly, I think he's too opinionated. In the dynamic they had, it kind of works, but I think sometimes he just goes off and it doesn't make any sense. Sometimes I can't even listen to what he's saying because I'm like, dude, you're just shouting in my ear for something that doesn't make any sense. You know what I'm
Mm.
saying? So, anyways, it's whatever. Honestly, if they come back together, I've stopped listening. Honestly, well, once they went off Spotify, I was like, I'm not gonna chase you to Patreon and be subscribing to your shit. No, I'm sorry. If you're
I don't support anyone on
I
Patreon.
can't do that. And then,
No.
even sometimes, even on these sub podcasts that don't put their full video on YouTube. I mean, I guess so we get to a point where you can say, okay, it's exclusive now. Try and come on and buy into it, whatever. But I don't like stuff like that. So, but
I get it.
anyways,
It's a game. I get it, but you're not gonna find me on.
no, no.
You have to be my friend to find me on Patreon supporting you.
Yep,
That's
exactly, exactly. So, but yeah, I mean, good riddance to them. I mean, hey, they've taken they were the first people to take the podcast game. Well, actually, let me not say that because they were obviously white podcasts that started doing all those things first.
from a hip hop perspective,
Uh
though.
yes, from a hip hop, urban, black. I mean, maybe not even black because there was the name of that podcast that was very popular. I forgot. But anyways, um, they've done a lot for the podcasting industry, definitely. Like all those Spotify deals, the way they've gone, they've done a lot of stuff for podcast community. So hey, kudos to them, but I could care less if they come back. As individuals, I don't think they hold water. As a collective, yeah, I like to listen to them, but hey, I don't know what Maul does on a regular basis other than podcasts.
Maul needs a podcast. He needs that podcast.
I mean, Maul is Biggs' brother. Biggs is Jay-Z's confidant or whatever.
Dream Biggs?
Yes, Biggs is his brother.
I didn't know that.
You know that? They always talk about it in the pod.
Yeah, somehow that always evaded me.
Yeah, Biggs is his brother.
Oh, that's the Biggs that they keep talking about.
Okay. Yeah, Biggs is his brother. So from that point of view, I don't know if he has some side hustles he does with Biggs or whatever, but at least he's connected. Rory was an A&R. He can probably go back to A&Ring. I know he has what's the name of that orange group he has? Orange and the Machine or something about a group shot that he manages or whatever that's doing pretty well. So he can go into music managing or whatever. He's still young enough. So I mean they can do their own thing. And Joe, I mean, what happened to State of the Culture? I don't know if they're still recording or doing that on Revolt. I don't know if they're still doing that. But he'll find something to do and he'll make some money. I mean, he's made millions already so far. So I'm sure he'll figure it out. And the Patreon deal is still on, so I'm sure he's making money from there.
He'll figure it out. He's still, I mean, Joe Budden's a brand, right? So
yeah.
Even if this goes by the wayside, he'll be fine.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah. Anyways, also in that whole network type thing, I mean, I don't know when we're going to announce properly, but look out for stuff we're doing going forward. Yeah, some exciting stuff, growing and stuff. So
some changes coming, but for the good. The good.
Yeah, exactly. So, but yeah, that was a good one, buddy. I hope you have a good Monday. I'm not looking forward to it, but hey, new week. Let's go.
Yeah. You too, bro. You too. Yeah. And hopefully, fingers crossed, we will knock on wood. We'll have that guest on next week.
Yeah.
Got some good conversations lined up.
Yep, definitely. All right, buddy. Have a good night.
Right.
Have a good weekend. Peace. Welcome to the Talk Shop.